Dhokla's Jayce, but this is actually the pick that I'd identified, Drakos, between games of, I think G2 should let Dhokla play it because they might be able to neutralize it. I think that's the gambit they're taking here.
And G2, they have given up on this counter pick thing. You know, LYON is going to have the counter pick this time around, so we'll see what Dhokla does, because Dhokla has done such a good job without it in the top lane thus far. And now G2 are going to have the first pick instead.
Oh, they take Jayce.
Jayce.
Oh, BB Jayce, or Caps Jayce, or SkewMond Jayce. I don't see a Jayce this
I mean, they could. They're all viable.
One of the biggest criticisms levied against G2 in meta's past has been that Broken Blade does not play Rumble and that he does not play Jayce. And while he has littered some games in there to kind of contest that narrative, it is not considered one of his strong picks, his signature picks, or even one of his good picks. So to bet it on a potential top lane Jayce is a hugely ballsy move for G2. But remember, after the disaster versus HLE, they bet on BB against T1, and it absolutely paid off. They might be doing the same here.
And my favorite iteration of G2, the most successful iteration, was when they were, flexing Pyke in all 5 roles, and even the coach would play it. And so we'll see as they keep it very flexible early on. But still, the payment for that Jayce is quite big. Ryze here is looking very good with the current champions out of Fearless, and they also are going to get extra side lane pressure with a Bard. So this is kind of a classic combo. Having the Ryze and the Bard really early on does make your mid game. You have a lot of leeway in side lanes. Well, it's not a jungle Jayce.
I'm still surprised that.
And it's not a mid lane Jayce. That's Broken Blade Jayce guaranteed.
So if this wasn't MSI, where teams look at Sion's win rate and see that it's 0-9, Dhokla would lock Sion right here, because it's double AD top jungle, and he would just play to neutralize it. But they might just drop him to 4-5 to secure the bottom lane, which, as again we were discussing, Drakos, the bot lane for LYON has kind of taken Hans and Labrov out of this series. And Labrov has been such a big playmaker. When G2's at their best, it's because Hans and Labrov are like pushing the tempo 2v2, getting things to happen, and they haven't been able to do that this series. So again, high priority by LYON on their bot 2v2.
I do want to point out, Caps has a pentakill already at this tournament on this champion, Drakos.
I appreciate you guys.
That's got to give you something.
You're giving me a lot of the silver linings. There might even be some gold linings on this particular cloud, and Caps on the Syndra is one of them. Now, with the Caitlyn locked in, I'm curious if LYON will even spend a ban on the Mel, right? Not something, again, that we associate Hans with, but has been a very conventional and very powerful answer.
This comp would work really well with Mel bot. That's a good call out. They have exactly the top side that you would want to have double AP mid bot.
The problem is, we know these teams have scrimmed. And if Hans didn't pick Mel in those scrims, I think LYON are willing to take the gamble that he's not about to pick it on stage.
I mean, the Lucian ban already blocks the Lucian Melio. Varus is already gone. He'd have like Jhin left. I kind of like the Mel ban, just to be safe, just because compositionally, like even if G2 is not their strengths, it's scary for LYON.
Mel can be vulnerable to the Bard instead of
They're not scared at all. They're not scared at all.
Not scared after the previous mage game they faced down. And they feel it's more adequate to take away playmaking from Labrov, that Rakan into the Bard option. So is another good denial.
Really don't want to give Inspired the Qiyana a champion who can really pull off a lot of those early ganks, maybe contest at a time where SkewMond would still really prefer to farm until 6. Debate now from LYON, what do they want to lock in? Pretty comfortable with their bot lane 2v2. And the top side wide open for them. They know what they're playing against in that regard. Trundle against the double immobile champions of the Syndra and the Jayce. You can get a lot of value out of the pillar.
High pillar value. It's an okay pick into the Wukong, not incredible, but and they're just going with hyperscaling bot lane.
Yeah, no mages. No, they don't want to see mages again.
They're not going to go out of this tournament playing Ziggs Mel, that's for sure.
Yunara, Lulu, the lock-in for Hans and Labrov at match point.
And pre-6, they have to be careful, because post-6, Yunara has some play against the Trundle pillar, but pre-6 it can be really tricky if Inspired gets active early on. That said, Labrov looked fantastic on this Lulu the last time we saw it.
Yorick would be an angle if he wants to. Dhokla has played Yorick in the past. The Olaf hover it's just in, it's Olaf.
Olaf does so well into all this CC. The Lulu polymorph, don't care. The spinning Wukong, gonna run right past him. Dhokla. They're putting all their faith in Big Dokes. He has had the advantage in the top lane matchup this series, and they're going to say it will continue.
Laying
no
down
Olaf
the
this
gauntlet.
year for Dhokla. One Olaf game in his 480 career games we have on record. So he's definitely pulling for this, but he will have definitely played it in solo queue, be comfortable with the pick, and it fits the comp. And what LYON has done this year with Dhokla in Split 1 playoffs for LCS lock-in and in Split 2, they're very comfortable throwing him on any counter pick, and they trust him to execute.
And Inspired is on Trundle, a very strong duelist. Before Wukong gets to level 6, I want to see where Inspired goes, how he wants to put some pressure here, because jungle can really make the difference in these matchups. You know, picking the Olaf into the Jayce, if your jungle is constantly invading, marking this Wukong, chasing this Wukong away, then you can have a lot more pressure and threaten all-ins yourself.
Game 1, a slow pace relatively. Game 2 was getting faster and faster, more in favor of LYON. Game 3 with this Trundle early on, potentially with this Olaf looking towards topside. Might get even faster. Are G2 ready for that pace of play? We talked about the scaling of the Yunara is there. Syndra strong early, has a good setup, but you got a Wukong who wants to farm. G2 gonna have a tough time navigating this early game as we load into game 3. LYON up 2-0, looking for the clean sweep against the G2 who just took down T1.
And if I think about the way that G2 could win this game, it would be Caps getting mid-prio over Saint with the rage advantage, but more importantly, it's Hans Sama getting fed. If they can just corner this bot lane through mid-prio jungle and permanent push, and Hans Sama gets strong enough, he could shred through the front line.
Caps and Saint trading. Immediate ghost coming out from Saint, looking to extend his advantage. Nice ward placed, giving information, and we'll just back away. Happy to potentially chip away at those pots or maybe get even an early TP. Also spot SkewMond. So much information in favor of LYON.
Caps gets theirs for the minions, though. He gets back for all 3 melees. So even though he gets chased around, the timing is okay for him. Meanwhile, bottom lane.
Bottom lane all in. Hans Sama fully stacked on the Q. Nice interrupt coming in for the Cosmic Binding on Isles. Really saves that exchange.
Extremely important stun and lethal tempo on both AD carries. So these extended trades can be very powerful.
Exactly. The level 1 of Yunara is where you really have to worry about. When everybody's on one ability and she can stack her Q, the chase down is terrifying. So Inspired, we were looking at what's he going to do with this early Trundle, and the answer is bot.
Level 1. Just now going to take over to level 2. They're going to notice it, but it might be too late. Q flash goes completely wide. Labrov still has access to the flash. They're trying to finish him out. First blood is there.
It's okay, Isles. They still got the kill. Even with the attempt.
Zoning Q. If he doesn't sidestep it, he's going to die anyway. Totally fine. It goes over to Isles, unfortunately, though. You'd love to have that kill on a Berserker.
And Jatt, what was it that you said just a minute ago? Was it that if G2 wanted to win this game, they had to get their bot lane ahead? Unfortunately, that is the exact opposite of what has happened. Inspired a level 2 gank on this Trundle, recognizing that window, recognizing what G2 might want to play for, and shutting it down.
And this is one of the reasons that Inspired has owned the region, whether he's on EG, FlyQuest, or LYON. He identifies the win condition of the game faster than anybody else, and he will change his game for that. In regular season, he's just the full clear guy, not really letting you know his plans, but when it matters, that's when he's going to pull off the 2-camp gank, right? That's not even a 3-camp gank. That's way faster than anyone expected. He's probably never done that gank all year, but he pulls it out in this moment because he knows that's what the game requires. And
for the first time in the series, not playing towards the top side of the map, not worried about it, saying, Dhokla, we expect you to lose this one, but it's fine because it's been fine in every game prior to this. 1-6-1 versus 5-1-7, a massive discrepancy, and okay, all right, but we're already scared.
LCS official.
That is definitely a large bicep on your screen right there. Dhokla has been massive bot side, though. Hans Sama still trying to fight here.
Rob trying to get a little bit more. Broken Blade low mana as Dhokla continues to trade.
Is it a curse?
SkewMond on the way up. Has it been the caster curse? SkewMond go in for a little bit more poke damage, but Dhokla managing to live. Concedes both sums, but happy to walk away with his life.
No TP, though, so he's definitely going to lose a significant portion from that and now be kind of stuck under his turret for quite a while. So doesn't get the kill, but a nice gank by SkewMond.
Yeah, large value there for SkewMond. The answer, or the question is going to be then, what is Inspire going to do after Crab? Can he actually get there to contest the Raptors? Because they have mid lane move. They're actually going to full send bot again.
That's the portal. Labrov and Hans are going to be in trouble again. Labrov still has flash from the previous play, as does Hans. He's going to be forced to burn it now, and the damage is still coming in, and it's going to be enough. Isles taking the kill as Inspired flashes forward.
A beautiful
Isles,
gank.
I mean, yeah, you kind of want to get a little bit like.
Guys,
but it's okay.
this is a my steak too buttery, my loss
Yeah.
too juicy moment. He's fine. It's fine.
They need this one. They need to get the kill under tower. Flash from Inspired goes back in. We'll see about the ramifications of that as well, though, because Caitlyn, Bard, constant pushing, constant pressure. Now into the Yunara Lulu will keep them down for the mid game.
Yeah, the kills would be better on Berserker, but Hans Sama being on 25 CS, no flash, 4.5 minutes into this game is the point of those ganks by Inspired.
And I'd even rather have them on Inspired too, because he is sacrificing camps to do these. You know, he's investing in bot lane, and he invested his flash there as well to go back under tower to get the job done. And, you know, the Trundle, they do want him to have a good economy still in this game. Yes, a lot of it is, hey, we're going to focus our Caitlyn Bard, get them to have some very oppressive pushing and open up some roam timers for the Bard. But you still also, as Trundle, you always got to keep your own economy good as well.
Gentlemen, one of the lanes that's looking good in terms of trade is mid lane, but unfortunately because bot lane is going so well for LYON, it means Isles has this extra free time to roam in here and disrupt this power point. We talked about the pentakill for Caps. No doubt the most clutch player on this G2 lineup. Might not matter if he's not able to find that 1v1 in lane. Dhokla just now ticking over to level 6. The trades thus far have been favoring Broken Blade, but now that he can't use the Thundering Smash to knock back the Olaf, it's going to get a lot more difficult.
Yeah, still waiting on that Flash and Ghost to come back up to be able to show real threat towards Broken Blade's Jayce. Also a much different game that we're going to be seeing here in terms of overall map plays. 0 TPs from anybody online. Last game we had 3, so they were really flying all over the place. Now they're going to be a lot more isolated in their own lanes.
Back to the top lane now, Inspired.
Walking up desperately, wants that one auto onto the plate.
So look at Wukong as well. So
yeah,
this is interesting because he's wrapping around and is going to place the deep control ward. They go for the ping here. Yes, thank you very much, observers, to try and get that information on Inspired's route.
Wrap around to mid. Saint first on the push. Ryze wave clear at this point still quite good. Syndra going to have a hard time bursting out the Ryze, especially as he gets closer and closer to completing that mid lane quest and the tier 3 boots. The extra shield can make a big difference. And trying to keep info on what SkewMond has taken as he uses the overload just to poke at the Raptor camp, but it doesn't connect, so SkewMond's fine.
Yeah, Saint, even though he's down a little bit in CS, still able to keep the pressure up in this lane. Tries to get a little bit of information for Inspired, who's on his blue.
Bot lane, Berserker and Isles continuing to push up, and you can feel the tension in this game. The explosion of early action in the favor of LYON has slowed down a bit as they continue to build up these gold leads for Berserker.
Yeah, and a lot of the point that we were making about Inspired's early jungle power on the Trundle over the Wukong. Wait.
Journey coming through, heal for additional movement speed, locking up Hansama, ulti onto him as well. SkewMond on the way in, wants to start spinning, has to body block the shot, and crucially does so. The play stops. SkewMond continuing to walk up. Realm Warp on the way in, being Saint on the way too. That's going to be a kill back for SkewMond, but he might just trade his life. Wants to take down Inspired, but does not have the damage. Berserker to finish it. Saint hungry for more.
Yeah, Saint ghosts and roams. Look at the mid lane too. They had Dhokla walk down there. It's over vision. He lands the axe.
He's going to run at Caps. Slowed him down. Caps has the flash, but I don't think there's really anywhere for him to go. Flashing finally away, but Saint over the wall as well. Locked up. The tower shot will not get them one in return.
Saint making plays, but LYON shift everything down bottom lane to really overload and win those skirmishes.
They're all on board with the mat movements. I mean, they send 4 people bottom to shift, and then Isles and Berserker.
Magical Journey. The Cosmic Binding connects. Oh, this is devastating. The trap there as well. This man can't move. Running back into the tower of LYON just to hit a plate, just to take time to contemplate what went wrong. He's as good as dead, but he's running for his life. He wants to go out on his terms. Broken Blade falls.
Trying to time out the execute, but the red buff definitely helping extend the damage. What a beautiful sequence there by LYON, shifting all over the map.
Yeah, it's just the rotations are so good. Everybody's on board as they make the play bottom. Then okay.
Isles in trouble. Magical Journey, not enough. Quick kill for Caps.
Some hope back for G2. Caps does get the execution. LYON still snowballing the map here, but that is some money where they want it.
Let's see how the lanes shake out here because role quests still aren't completed and they did a great shift, but now can they make it back? Remember, it's no TPs versus double TP, so G2 should be able to play a little bit of catch up as they're going to use that kill onto Isles to be able to secure these grubs.
That they are, although Broken Blade losing out on that cannon. It's like one additional CS on the return to top side. The Grubs, though, going to feel nice for G2. Neither side has taken a Drake yet, so there's not this big pressure point that's going to force these fights as we saw in the first 2 games. But still, the early game looking rough, and Berserker is going to be the problem. You mentioned it. Once those role quests are done, that Caitlyn gets out of that lane, all your tier 1 towers are going to start to fall.
And the roaming will continue for LYON. You know, with Bard and Ryze especially, both Isles and Saint going to be making a lot of visits between bot lane and mid lane here.
Isles, ulti dash to the side. Spawning with an ulti as well from Isles.
You know, Isles is doing stuff. I'm not trusting what he's doing. He's missed a couple Qs, he's taken a few kills, but still trying to provide the pressure.
And I will say, getting that Yunara ult down, maybe that is super valuable for this Dragon. No Yunara ultimate, and a lot of the power budget is in that thing.
Whoa. Nice stun.
Connects. Isles able to magical journey out.
Gotta be careful about this Drake, though. SkewMond would love to find another ultimate, especially on a flashless, altless Bard. So LYON needs to make sure they don't rush this. Berserker's in a good state in the game, and I think they just want to really play around this Caitlyn and possibly the Ryze when he moves.
They do. Isles still a long time left on that Tempered Fate cooldown.
Top side play. Look at the rotation now. This time from G2. They've got Caps here. He wants a burst.
Nobody is
ulti.
there to defend for Dhokla.
Yeah, Shockwave goes wide. There's not really much of a play there. Caps relatively low on mana as well. Definitely could have gotten the full combo, but hoping Dhokla would overextend into the 1-for-1 and fight with his flash available.
Big Dokes with the weak side play, not overcommitting, not face-checking, managing to find Caps, and then just kind of cheat this next wave as well in the top lane. So surviving this early laning phase against the Jayce as he's trying to scale up on the Olaf.
That he is. Broken Blade doing what he can to build up this gold lead. You can see the CS very much in his favor. The assist helping balance things out for Dhokla, but we saw this in game 1-2 with the Anivia. A little gold lead, not enough when you have this really powerful topside matchup. You want to turn it into more. You see a potential play in the mid lane.
Yeah, G2 trying to get something because they know LYON are going to set up for the Dragon, and now they're going to make their way over. The objectives should be burned down in time for LYON, but can G2 close the trap shut here? It doesn't look like they'll be able to cut off anyone from LYON. Labrov and SkewMond still hunting.
Maybe Inspired will overcommit for a jungle camp, looking for an exit kill. Berserker under the tower here. Do they want to go for the dive? They don't have a wave to do it, but they're still trying to jail Berserker under this tower. Likely Inspired will cancel the recall. It's the cue to do it in the end. Yeah,
Isles on the way to defend as well, making sure they keep vision on SkewMond.
Lockdown onto SkewMond, connects. Forced to move out with the playful Trickster, and there's the ulti right when they need it. SkewMond gonna have to start spinning if he wants to get away from this one, trying to back up the Q! Isles clutch in the moment, living for an extra second before Inspired bites down, takes a chunk out of the G2 jungler. The ace in the hole. Saint on the way. Labrov moving in a different direction just because he knows he's a dead man walking. A beautiful play for LYON and for Isles.
Isles hits the cosmic binding to keep the play going, and LYON strike again in the bottom lane. They're going to finish the first tower of the game on top of it.
I'm just going to fill out another apology for him. Isles, your Bard, I wasn't familiar with your game, but I love just the patience from LYON right there. Inspired, staying extra just in case there was a dive, then cautiously checking the bush to see if SkewMond was still there.
So Berserker goes for the Q off of that stun, and then he tries to net over the wall here, but doesn't get it. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe can run away, but Isles says no way. He's going to be able to take them down. The immediate flash follow from Inspired and the chase down.
Caps trying to make a difference in the bottom lane, but that's most of his damage. Flashback from Saint, respecting that there could be more members for G2 there, and indeed they are. Spots on Sama on the way.
It feels like when a play goes good for LYON, that's when we pan back to Caps making a play. Can't quite get the kill there, though. Just gets the flash from Saint as Berserker is just moving around the map, trying to farm the plates.
Skara, quick to get the tweets in. Oh, buddy, fair enough, fair enough. 2-0 up, LYON looking very dominant, and you highlighted it. Caps trying to hold the line, trying to do what he can, but his small gold lead in lane, the small trade advantage is really starting to fade away. Again, the tier 3 boots are there. There's not even a Roa, and Saint is still surviving the full combo from Caps.
SkewMond looking for an angle here in the river, really trying to find that game or series-changing fight. I remember G2 being down 0-2 to TES, and the game really turned on a scuttle crab chase into the turret.
I hear
G2
you.
looking for a similar type moment to pull things back.
Inspired, just walk into jungle, go for that scuttle crab. Labrov, don't do that. Come on, Inspired. Tasty, tasty crab. Right in the river. Just walk in, don't auto-attack, and then for some reason walk into our tier 1.
Syndra can steal it. We had Cap
Bait the
Syndra
hook.
in that TES game.
Little fishing. I don't think he'll do it.
Yeah,
I think we got one of those in this tournament as an EU rep, but maybe we'll get 2. The NA brain cannot resist a crab.
True. It is our weakness. We love our crabs. Dhokla has been very patient in this bush. I don't think it's...
The Broloff versus the Broken Blade is especially powerful.
Wants to get that cannon.
Okay, a bit of poke.
Yeah, just cheating some experience. Still in survival mode against this Jayce. I mean, Broken Blade's Jayce has been able to accrue a 500 gold advantage for himself, and that's after absorbing that one gank. So really trying to just slowly chip away at this game before he arrives for the poke.
SkewMond here for the cover, but LYON are bringing more members.
That they are. SkewMond not positioned against the wall, so the Cosmic Binding won't do much here, but he's just getting poked. Gets a bit of damage back onto Isles. Quick Magical Journey takes him out. Just this constant thorn in the side of G2 Esports. Isles has been playing this game very proactively. I know you guys are like, we go to like some kills to go here, we would like some other stuff to go here. Yeah. But overall, his impact in this game, incredibly positive.
And with those kills, you want all of the damage so that you get the kill for sure anyway.
Yep.
If
they were close.
Yeah, if one of those kills does not get, you actually secure it, then you're way more heartbroken. So let's take a look, because he's on a good power spike too. Does get his Blood Song now for Bard, even with the nerfs to the damage of Bard. Still very powerful there, and his Mikhail's at the ready to try and deal with that CC from G2 when they go for the big play. It's so nice for LYON to be able to have Mikhail's for your Trundle and Olaf having his own ultimate to go CC immune, so their front line can really, really be difficult for G2 to solve.
Yeah, but LYON's got to be really careful with how they approach the Lulu Yunara with the current power spikes. They can go beast mode. They have the Ardent Sensor, the Yunara art, the Lulu ult, and really try and run over fight, especially if SkewMond finds a good engage.
And prioritizing the Ardent Sensor means there's that much more pressure on Hansama to play incredibly clean. If that Bard Binding lands, there's no Mikhails to save him. Tower getting chunked out here. 4 members of G2 committing. Saint pushing in the top lane. SkewMond tanking a tower shot. Now it's Dhokla, who's going to run in and then immediately run back, opting out of the fight, but the tower still stands for an extra second as the wave will finally crash.
So they are going to continue their split push. It's top side for LYON and mid lane for G2 as Broken Blade gets his way up to the tower as well. And I think that is just going to be LYON sacrificing this dragon for sure. Yeah. There's no way for Saint to get down there, so they want that side lane Ryze to become that priority. They can open this map up, get those outer towers down.
And I think that was a pretty big power spike for G2 to play off of with the Yunara and the Lulu overloading that bot side. So they get the turret, they get the Drake, and it's just LYON doing a pretty classic LYON play, cross-mapping to try and get Saint a little bit ahead so we can split push later in the game.
Saint 2-0-2, not the biggest gold lead against Caps, but definitely going to be a terror, especially against so many short-range champions on the top side of the map. See if Caps and the rest of G2 can keep him at arm's length.
Yeah, Caps is doing a trailing play at the moment. They are kind of expecting a move from LYON, and so when you keep the Syndra in the fog of war there, waiting to see if you can get a stun from long range, if anybody went to attack Broken Blade there, they're covering their bases. They're really trying to guess at Inspired's game plan, and which has been very difficult for G2 this series.
Yeah, Inspired had the 2-camp gank bot, which really set the tone for this game, and has just been trying to keep Berserker ahead the entire time afterwards. Labrov had to flash away from Isles there.
Labrov losing that flash, pretty devastating. Again, the pillar from Inspired, excellent pick tool, especially when you got that extra bit of movement speed from the Scuttle Crab, from the Trundle W, running in to set that behind. Follow-up could be there too. Have not really seen that full 5v5 fight. Neither side wanting to fully commit, but LYON getting first setup means G2 very unlikely to contest. Again, a lot of range with the Syndra Jayce. When you have to move into that fog of war, you are incredibly vulnerable. SkewMond the only one who can face check, and he's going to check with his face. And now he sees nothing as LYON immediately back off. And I do think LYON is not looking for fights at this particular stage of the game. I think you want 2.5 items on Dhokla if you're really going to force, but you also want your Caitlyn to have an actual item advantage over the Yunara to show the gold league. He's just sitting on Collector and Components, whereas Hansama is essentially as strong, but then stronger because of the Ardent Sensor Lulu. So this is a state of the game where G2 can actually look to make some proactive plays because their items give them a lot of power.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at SkewMond here on the Wukong with Flash and ult both available. Level 11 spike for him. Let's see if they can find that pick, because mid lane is definitely on everybody's radar over there. As Isles does pass through the G2 vision, they're going to collapse and not open any opportunities. But you are looking at the flashless Lulu as a possible pick target, so have to remain very safe in this vision coverage.
Yep, and flashes up across the board for LYON. On the opposing side, we take a look at the coin-based gold grind. Of course, Hansama pretty far Berserker. Keep in mind that's with the coal gold as well. So Berserker really had his number in the laning phase. Hansama doing what he can to scrape together some gold to get to that second item.
And that gold turns into meaningful power with the Infinity Edge being completed here for him. So side lanes being dealt with. Saint's able to get the top side as well. So that's objective number 1 for LYON with this comp. You know, get those side lanes nice and open, and then they can return to the Rift Herald here. Again, really good vision setup. They're doing their due diligence here, getting all of the information prep, and then securely go take the objective. They didn't have a reason to risk it earlier on. They back off. They give it the time.
They had to take it, though. It was about to despawn, so they had to rush it.
They're very patient.
Control,
very patient.
Rushing the objective down. LYON very much in their comfort zone here. Again, we highlighted how important Hansama can be when we get into the later points of the game. Has the Fiend Hunter Bolt a second item. Certainly not as powerful when you look at raw value as an IE, but when he ults, he is going to get that immediate burst, that ability to potentially shred through a target. Dhokla, the other person we have to keep our eye on, because while he suffers in the 1v1, will eventually be a big problem for G2 Esports, especially as he can just build a lot of armor, and if Caps burns his cooldowns on the Olaf, it feels like a winning formula for LYON.
It is going to be interesting, because G2, they're very fragile, but they have so much damage.
Yep.
I think the term glass cannon is applicable. If you just kill the Olaf, then you don't have to CC him. So
this is true.
If the timings aren't correct on the engages, then you certainly could have a lot of damage. And especially like if Jayce does get some poke damage ahead of time, there definitely are some opportunities there. But again, I'm going to be pretty worried about what can Isles create with this Bard ahead of time. Maybe they burn some flashes or something, and then it's harder to operate.
I do really feel like LYON has to flank for these team fights. If it's Dhokla just trying to run through Jayce, Syndra, Yunara, Lulu, he's dead. I don't think that's the approach to team fights. But LYON historically has been really good at finding flanks on team fights. So it's Saint finding an angle most likely, and then once they distract them, that's when I feel like Dhokla will try and
Saint is on the flank now. Mid lane tower potentially in trouble. Saint coming around the corner. G2 realize they have to back away. Good play from LYON, breaking open mid lane tier 1, opens up so much more of the map. As SkewMond is so quick to jump in and stop anyone from riding on the Herald.
He smites it though, so if LYON tries to burst this dragon, they might just go for it. At the very least, G2 would have to approach through these Caitlyn traps. They're not going to rush it though. They'd love to try and find a fight if G2 moves in.
G2 playing for mid prio. They've already lost bot prio. So trying to take control of mid before they start to base check. Ultimate going to connect on Labrov. Inspired moving in, a nice pillar to isolate Cap. Dhokla, instantaneous flash over the wall. Ragnarok through the back line. They can't quite pass the DPS check, and he manages to make it out. Saint in pursuit, as is Inspired. G2 being pushed back. 4 members still standing. Support traded for jungler, but it favors LYON.
Incredibly close there. Just the 1-for-1, with that starting with Labrov literally stepping on a trap, getting Bard ultimated into a trap combination. And so if you get hit with the Bard ultimate, it's guaranteed Caitlyn trap. Look, Berserker puts it down now, so there's gonna be so much damage. Pillar to separate, Inspired's gonna give him a bite, and they think, probably gonna be able to finish that kill, but he survives, and then the counter on the other side.
I'm really shocked that Labrov was able to win, but it's because the counter engage there by SkewMond, who ends up giving his life, just pulled the attention of the fight to him.
They end up with a 1-for-1 Drakos. The dragon taken beforehand for LYON.
It's a good spot to be in. Realm up to the top side. They're not satisfied with a 1-for-1. Cap's now in trouble. Tries to get away. The magical journey is there. Wants to get some damage down before he drops. G2 now feel like they have to make this play happen. SkewMond thinks better of it. Starts to back away, but it might be too late. LYON pushing in this top wave. Poised to take down the tier 2 tower.
Probably just the kill onto Caps. LYON does have 5 people here, but they've used most of their crucial cooldowns. I wonder if they think about the Baron here.
They have Ragnarok, they have Tempered Fate. Caitlyn is strong. It still might feel like too tall of a task, but if Labrov gets caught, it certainly won't. Lockdown is there. Dhokla ready to go to the back line. He's got the Ragnarok ready to go, and he's starting to run back to the remaining members of G2. SkewMond down. Jungler out of the equation, but the low health bars likely mean LYON cannot start the Baron.
Another successful hit there for LYON. They pick another kill. The first one onto Caps. He had to flash because SkewMond in the fight had focused him, had Trundle pillared, and gotten the flash early. They get that pick. They turn to one more inside the jungle. Slowly but surely, they're adding little bits of extra gold to their coffers.
Yeah, LYON throwing lots of jabs here. You can see, knowing that he's flashless, they get Labrov. But SkewMond finds a good angle. It's just no one is there to follow up. Caps was dead, so they didn't have that last bit of damage to cut through either Isles or Dhokla. Then they have to retreat afterwards. I'm still going to say it's a very tense game, because if LYON's getting these like single kill fights, but if the Yunara Lulu get going, they could run through a team fight on the back end.
Does get a bit scary. Isles playing with fire. More damage on the opposing team, the more risky that kind of play gets. But I think what's going to make it so frustrating, Jatt, is that we're probably going to see a rapid fire cannon. And a single Caitlyn auto taking out half of Hansama's health before a fight even starts just does not set up G2 for success, does not set them up on the right foot. And again, the Olaf only getting scarier. He's on 1.5 items, and every time he flashes in, he demands the attention of G2. They have to try to burst him down.
And it does feel like LYON is currently playing with the sense of calm. So they're taking the small wins, and they're just slowly accumulating them. 2 Drakes right now, next Drake in 2 minutes. They have the 3 items on Caitlyn, as you mentioned, and they can kind of play around flash cooldowns from pillars. Did they land a Bard ultimate into a trap? And they're going to take those small wins all day long.
I want to see how G2 can solve their face-checking issue, because their comp is so fragile with so much damage. Vision is such a premium resource. We saw it last time around, you know, with Labrov trying to face-check the bush and then getting Bard ultied and being a combo target. It's even hard for SkewMond. You know, when SkewMond is left alone there as the point man, getting burst down in a couple of these fights, they're gonna need to sync up and like rotate the cooldowns on their scryers from their trinkets, you know, use everything at their disposal, and Syndra combos with long range.
Isles still living. Block it there, Caps. Nice rocket belt to get out from the Tempered Fate. LYON, very positive trade of cooldowns.
Yeah, man, Lockett really eats up that Syndra ultimate right there. It felt like he just stopped taking damage when he pressed it right there. And they're fighting over this mid lane. And to your point, Kobe, like, unless G2 is set up first, how do they really get through any of those tanks to Trundle or Olaf? The poke will kind of do nothing to them.
Yeah, vision is difficult to get, but they have long-range Jayce poke, and Syndra stuns can set up big comebacks. Look at this. You've got the Olaf waiting in the wings there. Dhokla constantly looking for these flank angles. He's going to back off.
Focus there. You can see G2 playing towards the top side of the river, because that is where they have vision. That's where they can guarantee they won't get flanked from. Now trying to push in towards the bottom side river, but playing very cautiously, knowing that someone could be lurking in the darkness. Luckily, they spot Dhokla. And now it's LYON who have to be a little bit careful on the approach. Caps, once again, tries to find the scout of the week, but an excellent 90 caliber net from Berserker stops any potential play.
Scary moment there. G2 had a good position, but they've used their cooldowns, and now
Dhokla.
LYON has retaken the river a bit.
They spot him.
He's been seen.
They saw him.
They know they have to mark the flanker, but can they kill him? Dhokla waiting for Broken Blade, now ulting, looking for the Ragnarok. Broken Blade running for his life. Is he going to be fast enough? SkewMond also backing away, down a level. Dhokla creating so much space.
Yeah, and the rest of LYON, you can see them leaking from the mid lane. They're like, we will support you. And Dhokla keeps his ult up by continually auto-attacking there. He fights off SkewMond as well. Got a decent amount of damage done. Olaf ultimate will be down though, which is a big, big tool. Let's see about this.
Yeah,
looks like G2 are going to seed the dragon and wait.
Oh, they have to give it. You can see the poke that Berserker can get down. They basically, Broken Blade was completely chunked out and burned his flash, so they have to concede the Drake after Dhokla just takes on 2.
Such a good position for LYON to be in. Only need Inspired to focus the Drake. The rest of them can fight for space around the Baron, and now it's Labrov, who's instantaneously forced to flash, but now he's got nothing for the Tempered Fate. G2 going to do what they can to try to peel him away, but Berserker is so damn strong!
Bard ult into Caitlyn, trap into headshot, and that's another pick. That's another kill. G2, they constantly have to respect Bard ultis and Realm Warps, and now the Baron.
Jayce is going to TP in. I feel like they're going to have to try and stop this.
Isles doing what he can to body block. Tempered Journey. SkewMond ready to move in. Cyclone there. Can he win the 50-50? LYON aren't going to give him the angle. Backing off at 3K. LYON holding the Baron. Isles getting lower. Berserker waiting over the wall, ready to go. A step forward,
so
chunking
tense.
out
It's
Caps.
getting lower.
Caps is about to die. Berserker solo killing Caps. A little support from Isles. LYON determined to take the objective. Dhokla ready to fight. Berserker, Hansama wants to make the difference. This might not be enough. Lockdown on the Broken Blade. Berserker set to take over, sending G2 to Valhalla. LYON get the Baron and then get the fight.
The patience from LYON on that Baron. Are you kidding me, Drakos? They keep it leashed at 3K for what seems like an eternity, and they're gonna make this series short.
The trust that they have in each other to play that sequence out, and they land another Bard ult.
Their fate tempered, but all they can hope for is another 2.5 seconds in this one. Labrov falls, LYON dominating.
Caps is going to respawn, so I don't think this is going to be the push for the Nexus just yet, but LYON have taken a huge lead right here.
Isles, my man. Woo. Pick after pick after pick after pick on this Bard.
Labrov cannot avoid the tempered fates from Isles. He's landing every single one, but the key point in this fight is Berserker on the side here into Caps. The Caitlyn marks over, gets the headshot, lands the ultimate, and they just hold this Baron at 3,000 the entire time.
Yeah, they just let Berserker get to work while they're staring him down. They didn't care about the Baron damaging them inside the pit. And then, once they know they have the advantage, once Caps is down, they go for the play, and even Dhokla survives on the bottom side. Every member of LYON there to see the triumph.
Man, the passive healing from Trundle there for Inspired allows him to take so much damage and heal up at every subsequent kill. Now, 4 full item Caitlyn with the Bloodthirster to immune the poke from Broken Blade. You hit him, maybe you get the shield. If you do get the shield, he can life steal up. 9,000 gold lead. LYON gonna go in for the kill.
LYON marching down the top lane, Scatter the Weak going wide. Flashbacks to last year at MSI, flashback to the match versus NRG, a best of 3. Is LYON determined to break G2? Good rocket belt out from Caps. Hansama, Q stacked. Mikhail's now going to be used. Dhokla threatening from the side. LYON looking to give no room to maneuver to the side of G2 Esports, who are desperate to hold on to what they can in their base. G2. Another scatter, this one connecting, but the follow-up simply isn't there. Using the Syndra range to try to zone them away, just hoping to clear these waves. 30 seconds left on the Baron. Dhokla running in for Broken Blade, making it look personal. To hold on to his life, but it costs the wild growth.
Yeah, no Lulu ult means it might be time to go
Flash in, SkewMond trying to make a difference, it doesn't do any damage! SkewMond still running, still holding on. Flash forward from Berserker. Down he goes. Broken Blade final back, healing up off the fountain, but Inspired is unkillable. Saint may have gone too far. Caps looking to fall. The timing has to be perfect, but no, the Mikhails is there. LYON moving into the base of G2, not giving them any chance to force a fight on their terms. Double towers down, Nexus exposed, and G2 in shambles.
The shock blast gives them hope at the chase. Will they try to extend the play? Broken Blade does have teleport, Caps has teleport, but they've got nowhere to use them. No flank wards. LYON are gonna make their exit.
No need to rush now. They're up 17 kills to 3, 9,000 gold, and 2 Nexus turrets. Saint gets dangerously low, but Berserker continues to be exceptional in this game. Headshot after headshot. I think it would have been pretty risky for them to finish the Nexus there with how low Saint was, so they're not trying to give G2 away back in this game with the Infernal Soul coming up in 15 seconds.
Exceptional bottom lane, you know, as does Isles.
Your boy, Isles!
Your boy deserves that 2,000 gold lead that he has.
Isles fell under so much criticism, spending a couple years on Dignitas, losing a bunch of games. When this roster got put together, people said, well, it's nice that they have Inspired and Berserker, but Isles, and he's done nothing but improve. Lock-in champion, spring split champion, and potentially MSI lower bracket finalist.
Yeah, throughout the year in LCS, improved so much. Stumbled at the beginning of this tournament, but gets right back up there when it matters. And now LYON here trying to close the game. They have the Infernal Soul, the extra damage, and we curse him!
Caster curse, down he goes. Well done, gentlemen. Tell me more, tell me more. Inspired, incredible year, incredible player. He's so good. Okay, it's not gonna work that way.
He runs our region!
He does. He 3-0'd SkewMond last MSI. I don't know, that was not great. That's going to delay this game for sure. And we know G2, you got to remember, they never give up. They have 2 reverse sweeps, one in the LEC playoffs, one so far here at MSI. They would need to pull a rabbit out of a hat, though, here, Drakos.
That they would, and they would also need to keep their mid laner alive. His Caps now being ulted. The ace, oh my god, Berserker, legendary. I think that more than makes up for a little fumble from Isles. Mid laner down, so much of the range threat, the range engage now removed as LYON set up in the bot lane. May look to be just taking the tower. Not gonna risk it though, again. So calm, so controlled. Do not want to risk anything against G2.
All right, here comes G2 though. Broken Blade on
Broken Blade going in. Hansama chunked out. Has to stay out of range of Berserker. Needs to continue to backstep. Ulti there, but it's Saint into the back line. Spinning, shut down. A disaster from Saint. LYON now might need to complete the play, force a greater advantage. Temper Fate does not connect. Hansama retreating. LYON, do they want to go for the end here?
I don't think so. It looked like I could see Inspired saying either calm down, fall back, because that was a very hyphy play by Saint there. He saw the victory. Ryze ults in, doesn't get to press his Zhonya's. He had an amazing Zhonya's in the Victor game last game. I think it was just a CC chain, couldn't get it off.
We have had many Ryze Realm Warps at this tournament that have been delivering people to their deaths.
If Hansama steps up here, he gets one shot. I don't know if he's still lurking. Observers, dang you are so tricky. But there is a murder machine waiting in that brush.
It's a risky play. G2's
he's probably
recalled something here.
He's recalled. Observers, please.
No, he's in there, buddy. They're both in
there. He's walking mid.
Baron dies
G2
fast.
trying to force.
They might give it.
G2 are going to do it.
They're just going to take Baron. They've just wandered in. Objective bounty claimed. And I think, EU, we take those. We'll get what we can at this point.
You certainly do, Drakos. The hope, the fuel for that possibility of another reverse sweep, another comeback at MSI, it's still very far away.
We talked about the TES Scuttle Crab in mid lane. It could be the Saint Realm Warp into the base. Those are the types of moments that can turn series around. LYON still has Soul, they still have the gold lead, they still have a problem in the bot lane with Berserker, but the hope is there.
Giving them something. At the very least, time in this game, 2 minutes, where they can certainly hold their waves. Stall for this inhibitor to respawn. Won't be up as the Baron fades, but gets them closer to potentially contesting the Elder that's spawning in 3 minutes. The difficulty, of course, LYON still very far ahead. You highlighted it so well. Berserker approaching that 6th item. Boots are already there. Can sell his Doran soon. He's only getting scarier.
Berserker is very strong, but Hansama has 4 full items and a Lulu in his back pocket, so Hansama very strong as well.
Have to be careful. They're wandering around the traps. They will spot him out. Inspired, keep your eyes on that pillar. That'll be the go sign. SkewMond enough armor not to just get completely deleted. Death Dance, though, you can see stalls it a bit, but still so much damage from Berserker.
LYON absolutely has to respect the team fighting here from the Yunara if they stay as the unit. Dhokla constantly looking for that angle.
And you see Caps constantly backstacking, anticipating that Dhokla can come from the flank. They know they can't step too far forward either because they don't have a tower there to defend them.
Okay, I mean, Jayce's poke is cool, but have you seen Berserker with a rapid fire proc? Holy, he walks up and he is doing like 400-500 damage. Let's see it. When he gets one of those with a headshot and walks up on somebody, it is devastating. And G2, again, very fragile comp, so you can't take too many of those.
No, you cannot. Puts pressure on their poke composition if he can land one of those on a key target to immediately force the engage, which I think LYON are more than comfortable with.
And even just onto SkewMond there, who is most likely to be the person at the front of the fight. We'll see how...
Power still alive. Caps now has his death cap. 4 items, does not stop for any defensive itemization outside of the mobility the rocket belt provides. Temper Fate once again connecting onto Labrov. No follow-up there. Caps poking over the wall, chunking out Isles. Stops the engage from LYON critically.
Big damage. LYON really careful not to overcommit like they did in the base earlier. So, I mean, the game is telling us objective bounties are still up. So the LYON is quite ahead, but you can see G2 is playing extremely well around this mid wave to keep the pressure up.
One more explosive fight could just end it in LYON's favor. G2 are going to need multiple things to go their way. 40 seconds on Elder. Playing towards the top side of that river. They'll spot out Dhokla with a blue trinket. Berserker still standing. Flash in from SkewMond. Inspired still living. In the back line, it's Dhokla rampaging through and getting right back out. G2 falling apart in the fight. Hot seven, not enough. That auto from Berserker is disgusting. Relmore forward to ensure Broken Blade has no room to return to his own base. Berserker is too damn good. Inspired, dancing on the graves of Europe. Top lane toppled. G2 have collapsed, and Europe has been gapped by North America. LYON taking their time, making it look damn good as they sweep G2 out of this tournament.
Inspired, dancing and waving.
Sending Europe home. A lot of beef, I think, for Inspired against G2 has talked openly about how he'd want to play against Caps, but sends him home from MSI 2 years in a row with 2 sweeps.
And it's just a reminder that no matter how good or how bad the previous series either of these teams played, one team can just show up on the day and make all the difference. I think every single role, it felt like there was a tangible gap between these two teams, which after that T1 series, people may not have anticipated, but the NA faithful well and truly rewarded an incredible performance from LYON.
This team is playing with so much confidence, and Inspired has full swagger right now. He is trying to turn himself into the biggest possible villain, but he is just continuing to win.
He's hushing the crowd. He's planning the games, the well-laid plans here, and the well-executed plans from LYON on top of it.
G2, a sad goodbye. We'll hold on to the series against T1, but this was not the exit that they were looking for. That's enough from us here at the caster desk. Let's send it over to the analysts to talk about this clean 3-0 from LYON.
I've got two words.
Go
Let's go!
Go ahead.
Oh my God, they played so well today. It was really, really fun to watch. I mean, hats off